take a basketball player, for example. They go in the gym, shoot 1,000 shots. They're not going to get the inspiration of, oh my gosh, this is what I need to change in my form. This is what I need to do and it'll feel better. They don't get that in the dead of night, usually. You know, most of these guys get it from doing 1,000 repetitions and then feeling it, then it clicks, then they get that inspiration because they're working on their craft. They're in the gym, they're trying to better themselves. And you don't just have to look at it like some sort of action that has to be a sport or an art. It's whatever you're passionate about. If you're working towards becoming better at it consistently, that's when those moments of inspiration will come to you. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was very, very, very close to not posting a YouTube video today. I was very close to, I slept horribly the past 2 nights, and I got home from work today. It was a long day at work. I was exhausted. I was like, I gotta take a nap. I laid down, ended up being, instead of like a 15-minute nap like I planned, an hour and a half. I woke up feeling horrible, a little sick, exhausted, and I was like, you know what, I'll make 2 videos tomorrow. I'll make up for it, you know? And I just, at the end of the day, I was running these thoughts through my head like, you know what, I don't have that, I have like 20 views per fucking video. Like nobody really cares. And even if it's my friends and family that are watching and they're like, oh no, I care. But at the end of the day, I have to do it for myself because if I don't post YouTubes, it's not gonna affect anyone in my family. They don't give a fuck. I mean, they're like, you know, they're gonna support me and be happy for me, but at the end of the day, I'm doing this because I want that accountability. The accountability has never been the audience. The accountability has been myself. And if I want to grow as a person, the days that I don't want to do it are the days that matter more than any other day. Whenever everything's going great and everything is easy and all the mics work and I get my video done early in the morning and my workout's great and I've been resting good and everything feels great, my body's not hurting, those are the days that, those are the days that are easy and it's awesome, but those are the days that do not lead to progress. And I feel like it's the same whenever I'm going through some sort of tests with my faith. The days where I'm happy with God and I'm thanking God for all the amazing things happening in my life, yeah, that's great, but I'm not gonna grow closer to God. The days that I'm having the worst day ever, the shittiest day you could possibly imagine, those are the days that whenever I'm able to be tested and actually trust God through the moments of not even wanting to wake up the next day. And I just think that this video is going to be one of my most important ones for myself because I was very close to not recording it. And I was very close to not posting anything, and I was very close to just making all the excuses and I can make it up and I can do this or that. But I got my fucking coffee and I made this promise to myself that 2026 I'm going to post every day, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Genuinely, no one does. And even if I know my friends care, my family cares, but it doesn't affect them in that way. It only affects myself, and to the viewers watching, I'm just another content creator that's trying to blow up. If I don't post again, it doesn't affect anybody who's fucking watching this. It only affects myself and the promises that I made to myself. And because I want to pursue my goals and I want to reach my goals for this year, I'm going to do it even though I really fucking don't want to. It's cold as shit in this garage. I don't feel the best. I have had horrible sleep. It's already late, it's almost 8 o'clock. I'm gonna have to kind of rush to edit and post this, and it's gonna be like almost a 2-hour workout. But all those excuses wouldn't make up for how bad I would feel if I didn't do this video. If I woke up the next day tomorrow, I would feel so upset with myself and I would probably end up not posting consistently like I had been. So the fact that I was able to get up and still make this video and record it, and I'm gonna post it, and I'm just proud of myself. I'm proud of myself and I'm happy that I'm doing it, and I'm gonna continue to be consistent. And if you guys watched that far, even this little speech right here, I really appreciate it. It genuinely means a lot, and I'm gonna fucking make it. So thank you guys. Sorry about that, that was kind of a lot. I'm gonna start with internal and external rotations like usual for my chest days. I like to really make sure I warm up my shoulders. I don't know if you guys are aware, if you're a newer viewer, I tore my labrum on my right shoulder in basketball, and I had to do PT. And in PT, before every session, they had me do internal and external rotations, just warming up my shoulder joints and my ligaments and all that, which is just this direction, this direction. I would recommend doing it on a cable because it keeps even tension throughout, but at home I just make do. I added in these as well. I do face pulls to get my rear delts warmed up and acclimated, and I do 3 rounds of that. I do like 10 each direction, and then I get into my chest day, warming up. I'll go more into that in a second, but yeah. Okay, my shoulders are feeling good. I'm gonna start warming up here with the 45 or the 45s. If you're a new lifter in the gym and you're trying to like learn how to build your chest, Just because you see everybody warm up with the plates, it does not mean that you have to. In the long run, if you're able to let your ego, push your ego down and start slowly and start lighter and really warm up your chest, first of all, it's not gonna lead to shoulder issues later on, and you're going to progress faster. You're gonna get better form, better mechanics because you're using lighter weight. When you go to heavyweight, that's when you build bad habits, like you arch your back too much, you use too much of your shoulders, you flare out your elbows too much. So kind of with everything in life, take your time and you will get there faster. So don't rush it. Some of my main cues for benching on the flat barbell is just, I have a slight arch, I retract my scapula, which basically just means I pinch my shoulder blades together. So I pinch my shoulder blades together, I arch my back a little bit. The reason that I do that is because it has your shoulders in a safer position. So you're here, you have like a healthy arch, nothing crazy, nothing like flat, just a healthy little arch. And I have a grip that's relative to myself, so like, don't base it off of how you see other people grip. Everybody's different, everybody has different leverages and links. So for me, I like to make sure that I have my wrist balanced over my elbows at the bottom of the movement. So see how my wrists right now are like right above my elbows, like this. So when I'm at the bottom, I'm not out here like this, and I'm not too close. So I'm like right here where this is all aligned, and that's where I'm the strongest and the safest position. I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple warm-up sets, and then I'll probably record my top working set and then give some more cues there. Okay, one last little piece of advice. Hopefully I might be giving more here later, but who knows. You gotta stop looking for inspiration, because right now, getting here and doing this when I really didn't wanna do it is where I found my inspiration. You have to go and do shit that you don't wanna do, and that's how you'll get into those moments. I feel like so many people sit and wait for that like feeling of being inspired, and they go and do something. Most artists, they work on their craft consistently, and then they find inspiration. Painters, sometimes they go out and they look at they look at nature, and they look at just life in general, and they exist, and they're like, oh, see, like they're just waiting for inspiration to hit them. No, the artists are working in that moment. Their mind is wired towards looking for inspiration. If you're just looking for inspiration because you think it's gonna come and grab you, if you're not trying to pursue what you wanna do, then inspiration's never gonna come. That's my last little thing here for a little bit. All right, back to benching. All right, I'm gonna have to go get my roommate to spot me. This is by far the heaviest weight that I've ever even attempted, especially at home with no elbow wraps. I wanna grab them, but at the same time, my elbows feel good. And that's the main reason that I use them, not to have extra strength, is to help with my tendons and ligaments. So they feel good, so I'm gonna try this weight. If I fail it, I'm still gonna post it, but there's a strong chance I get 0 reps, but I'm hoping I can get close to 5. I might start bouncing the weight a little bit at the bottom, which again is kind of contradicting myself earlier, saying that you don't want to ego lift. You don't want to, but I've been in the gym for a long time, and today I just feel good right now, So if I fail the weight and I want to bounce it a little bit every now and then, it's okay to have a little bit of an ego lift. Look off me. Come on. Come on. Hey, definitely backing off next set. He says he didn't help at all on that last one. Don't know if I believe him or not. That shit was definitely heavy. Regardless, I think that's a PR. It was 265, I believe, for basically 4. I'm not super unhappy with that. Definitely want to control it more. So the goal down the road is to do that same set with 4, and it'd be really, really controlled, or even 5. But yeah, I would definitely rather have a bench that offers more stability than this one. You can see it's pretty thin. I've used ones like at your better gyms, they'll have really thick benches, and you're able to better support yourself. Your shoulders will feel a lot better, you'll feel a lot stronger because you'll have more stability at the bottom of the movement. So if I had that, I think we could get that weight in the bag without the elbow wraps. I'm gonna back off for one set. I may or may not record it. If I don't, I'm gonna go from here to incline chest press. Okay, here we go. Probably didn't give myself a long enough time to rest between these, but I give myself about 2 minutes, which is usually ideal for hypertrophy. I don't think I've talked about that before. Usually, depending on how much you're taxing your CNS, which is your central nervous system, basically how heavy you're going, Usually if you're going a lot heavier, closer to that 3-minute range is better. If you're doing something like your shoulders, for myself, I feel just as strong and fairly recovered without lactic acid buildup. So I can do my shoulders with like usually a 2-minute break in between both and I feel fine. When I do compound movements, I give myself more like 3 to 5 minutes, especially if I'm doing something more so like a hack squat or a heavy bench, I'll give myself more time to recover. I'm giving myself about 2 minutes now. I've talked for another minute, so 3-ish minutes should be okay. See how this feels. I dropped the weight 10 pounds, so it should be okay. But I also felt pretty strong and my mechanics felt good on the last movement, so there's no telling. So I definitely controlled the first 3-ish really well. Last 2 bounced a little bit, especially that last one bounced more than I would have liked to. But that shit was heavy. So I'm not upset with that. Got 5 reps. For hypertrophy, I think that was a pretty decent set. If I were to have a choice, I probably would have taken those 5s off and controlled it a little bit better. Gonna go to incline dumbbell press from here. So I haven't talked about this yet. Whenever I perform an incline bench press, I usually only have it up 1 click. A lot of people have it up 3 or 4, which can be okay depending on how you perform the movement. So I'll explain how I see it done wrongly and then the correct way to do it here in a second. The wrong way that I see it a lot is people will have it 1 click and then they'll be here and have that arch in their back still. What that does is it still biases your middle pec and lower pec more than your upper pec. So if I were doing it with 1 click up like I normally perform it, I keep my back as flat as I can. I still have my scapula retracted, and then I'm going here. I have my elbows tighter rather than out like this, because whenever I have it out, my front and delts are responsible for a lot more of the movement than they normally would be if I have it tighter. If I have my grip tighter, your upper pec is responsible for flexion and adduction. So whenever you're here, you're getting a lot of that flexion. And then also, I usually won't go to like a full extension, because from here to here is basically all triceps. So I'll be here flat, down, my back's flat, my scapula's retracted, elbows fairly tucked in, and then I'm going almost a full extension. And that's how I perform it properly. If you do have it up like 2 or 3 clicks, I'll just go ahead and do 2 like this, for example. At that point, it is okay to have a slight arch like this. Not a crazy one, because it's still a crazy one, you can still bias your middle pec more. But if you have like a slight little healthy arch and you're doing the same type of movement, that can recruit your upper pec. But for myself in particular, I just feel the best whenever I'm in a slighter incline and I feel like I'm stronger, and that's what I'm used to doing. So it really comes down to preference. If you really have a hard time controlling how much you arch your back, if you like have to do a full crazy arch the entire time, sometimes even like this high can be okay. It's not completely ideal, but if you're like this when you do the movement and that feels really comfortable to you, you're not gonna be as strong, you're not gonna be as stable. But if you're not willing to try and work to have really good form, that is a shortcut, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the movement. I'll probably record 1 working set here. The dumbbells only go up to 70s, which is unfortunate, but they kind of feel like 80s because they're actually metal dumbbells. They feel really heavy. But I still normally do like 90s to 100, so they're kind of light for myself. So you'll see me really focus on the eccentric, and sometimes I'll even like wrap a band around my shoulders and I'll use it to give myself more tension, but it makes it to where there's a lot more tension at the top portion than at the bottom. It's not like even, and that's usually what I preach, is having even tension throughout for most of your movements. So I'll probably just stick with the 70s and just try to control it as much as I can. Okay, about to go into the working set, but before that, dude, I'm having a really hard time talking right now, and I don't know what it is. I keep stuttering over my words, keep losing my train of thought, and I think it's just because hopefully I'm going to be giving a decent message right now, and the more difficult it is for me, and I keep pushing and keep trying to work towards getting this post done and getting this workout done, if it's easy, then it's usually not worth as much. So I'm gonna keep pushing through it. Hopefully my brain fucking works. Yeah, just wanted to say that. Not sure why. Okay. That felt okay. It was honestly pretty easy. I tried to really start focusing on the eccentric there. But I'm gonna do one more working set here, and then we'll go into some lower to upper flies. Okay, I'm gonna give a brief explanation on what this movement is and why it's so good. So I actually like doing it at home more than I do at Alphaland because I'm able to have really good stability and the tension starts in a really deep position. In comparison to Alphalands, I have to sit like up on the edge of the seat to be able to get that same type of lengthened position. Also, I really like how this being up like this just gives me really good stability. So I'm not having to sit up like this to be able to hold myself. I lose some of that stability. Here, I have the lengthened position that I also have really good stability. All that you do is, if you're at a gym, a cuff would be ideal, but I have this weird handle attachment. I'm here, and then I'm stabilizing myself here with this other arm. And then, so your upper pec is responsible for flexion and adduction, like I said earlier. So here, my main focus is flexion, but if I can get a little bit of adduction at the top as well, then I'll try to. This might be too light. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I think the last thing I was doing on these were lateral raises. I'm gonna go ahead and raise the weight a little bit. Okay, just gonna record the top working set here. Okay, and at the end, it might look like I'm doing partials when I'm just doing this movement from here to here, but I'm actually doing the full range of motion for the flexion portion because flexion is about from here to here. So these little half reps that I'm doing at the end is really me trying to completely focus on targeting and going to failure on the flexion because that's my main focus here. I'm gonna record the other side, but you won't really be able to see as much, and it's basically the exact same thing. So probably the next movement that you'll see will be some sort of lateral raise variation. Okay, I just warmed up my side delts with some dumbbell action. I'll show you guys exactly why this movement is really good, and then also how to perform lateral raises if you don't, or just any type of lateral movement properly. I see a lot of people go directly out to their side, which actually puts your side delts in a vulnerable position and you're not able to be as stable or move as much weight that way. What's ideal is actually be like a 45-degree angle out in front of yourself is gonna target more of your side delt. You'd think it'd be front delt, which it does target a little bit, but the vast majority is your side delt whenever you want a little bit out in front of yourself, and it's a much safer position. Also, for this movement, I always like to cut out forearm involvement, if that means using a strap or completely putting the weight on the humerus in general. That just makes you a lot stronger and cuts out your smaller muscles giving out before your shoulders do. Your shoulders should always give out after your forearms, unless you're like a newbie in the gym. At first, your shoulders might give out first whenever you're doing lateral raises, but once you progress in the gym, your shoulders should be stronger than your forearms for the most part, especially when you're holding it out at this angle. So I like to put it directly on my humerus, and then this is kind of the same setup as the last chest movement, except I'm just putting it on the side here like this, and then I'm stabilizing myself right here with the bar. And I like to have my shoulders down and decompress so I'm not involving my trap, like I'm not shrugging up whenever I'm going. I'm going a little bit out in front of myself just like that. I also forgot to grab this. I like to involve a ghost grip, which this isn't doing anything to help me move the weight mechanically, but it actually is recruiting more muscle fibers for whenever or actually motor units, whenever you are performing a lift. So it'll make you stronger in a lift. It's weird. I'm not gonna go into super deep detail on the research, but I will one day. Okay. Okay. Before I go to the other side, whenever I make statements like that, make sure that the research is backed. Don't just believe what I say. Do your own research and do your own diligence. I will be doing a video explaining how to make sure that claims are science-backed and science-based. I won't be doing it tonight because this video is already longer than I want it to be, but most likely my next rest day, so like the day after tomorrow, I believe, I'll maybe go into detail on how to make sure that something is actually research-based and a claim can actually be justified and correct without you guys just blindly believing it. You shouldn't blindly believe anybody on the internet, regardless of what their physique looks like, you never know how they obtained it. There's a lot of guys who can get on testosterone and be a hyper responder and have an amazing physique, and it be just due to the testosterone. And corresponding to that, there can be people that have really bad physiques but know exactly what they're talking about. Not really bad, but not the best genetics in the world. It might be natural and know exactly what they're talking about. So don't just trust anybody based off what they're saying. Make sure that if they say a lot of things that you've fact checked and they keep being consistently reliable, like over and over again, at that point, like TNF is somebody that I watch, and he's consistently been reliable and correct in a lot of the statements he makes. So now at the point that I'm at, I don't really check to see if everything that he says is science-based, because for the most part, it almost always is. And that's kind of how I want a lot of my gym content to be, to where you guys can start to actually trust me. Starting to go on a tangent and ramble a little bit, but basically just make sure that you fact check it, and I'll explain how to do that in a couple videos from now. That's all that I do for side delt. I think that is like the best way to target your side delt in general, and at my house it's by far my best option. I can either do that or just dumbbell lateral raises. So I'm gonna do 4 working sets here. Seems like a lot, but since that's the only movement I'm doing for my side delt, that is what is required to get optimal stimulus. After this, I'm gonna go to some form of a rear delt movement. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do. I have a hard time targeting that at my house optimally, just because I only have a cable at the top and at the bottom. I would like to have one like somewhere in the middle, but I'll try to make something work. If I can't get anything that feels really comfortable, or I feel like my shoulder joints are kind of bothering me, because that's the main reason I don't usually target them at home, then I'll do something differently. I have one that I've been wanting to try, so I'll give that a try, see how it feels, keep you guys updated. And then I'm also going to do like, not rack pulls, but I'm going to do shrugs in the rack, and I'll explain why that's a really good movement. And those are probably the last 2 movements I'll be doing. Rear delt flies of some form, might even be a pull movement, and then shoulder shrugs. So yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to target my rear delts here. Let me turn on the music a little bit. So whenever I do a pec deck, I'm like this almost, to where I'm going a little bit higher on my grip, because your rear delt actually wraps upwards. A lot of people think that, you know, if you go linear, it's kind of the same as your side delt. You don't want to go completely linear like this. You want to have a bit of a downward angle. So I'm trying to replicate that a little bit here, single arm. I'm going through with my elbow. I'm going to also have a ghost grip. And then I'm just trying to get the best pathway that I can to have this motion, a little bit upwards and down. Obviously not ideal, but making the most out of it. I might lower this just a tad bit more because the last set felt a little bit weird. But yeah, gonna go ahead and get into that. This is my last working set here, actually. The first 2 were pretty decent. I mean, they honestly felt okay. Definitely, I think the best that I can do for at home with this type of setup that I have. So let me go ahead and stop talking. Okay, so the only issue that I'm really running into is having my upper lat feel more engagement than I'd like to. Just because this angle, I would rather be a little bit more like this. I'm gonna try to focus on that. It just sucks because this is so high. But I mean, again, it's not bad. I could also do like a single arm. I thought about being like over this and then pulling up like this to get the same type of activation, or pulling up to the side. Might try that next chest and shoulder day, but just gonna experiment with it. I haven't really tried a whole lot to do a great rear delt workout at home, just because usually I just take the time to, you know, deload for my rear delts whenever I'm at home, just because it's not the best thing in the world. But hopefully this can show you guys how to do something at home if you have any type of setup similar to this. Okay, that actually felt really good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do one more set on my left side, because that felt a lot better. I think the pathway was a lot cleaner. So gonna do that, probably not gonna record it because I think I touched on mostly everything I wanted to. From here I'm gonna go to shrugs. Okay, last movement for the night. Just gonna do some shrugs right here. I'm gonna use my straps. This is my last working set. Not a whole lot of cues here. Basically, I'm just getting a neutral grip that where I feel the strongest. I'm not out too far, I'm not too close. I'm just usually aligned with your quads for the most part, or aligned with your shoulders. I'm just shrugging, and that's gonna have most likely the least amount of cues of any workout that I show you guys. Super simple. I'm gonna go ahead and do my last working set and then be done for the night. So notice how when I'm shrugging, I'm not really jumping. I'm trying to make all the movement be with my, my traps. But yeah, that's basically it for the night. Pretty proud of myself for getting out here and doing this when I really didn't want to. Yeah, just gonna leave you guys with one more thing, like I was talking about earlier with the artist. Another example I was thinking about is just athletes. They don't look for inspiration. And we think that like the glory that you get for being an athlete makes all that work worth it. But at the end of the night, I feel like emptiness comes from doing something only for the glory of it. If you do it because you want people to glorify you and be like, dude, look at what he's doing, look at this, look at that. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, and if you're successful, you're still going to feel empty. With athletes, another comparison to the artist thing is, yeah, they get a shit ton of glory, but they go and work on their craft. And take a basketball player, for example. They go in the gym, shoot 1,000 shots. They're not going to get the inspiration of, oh my gosh, this is what I need to change in my form. This is what I need to do and it'll feel better. They don't get that in the dead of night, usually. You know, most of these guys get it from doing 1,000 repetitions and then feeling it, then it clicks, then they get that inspiration because they're working on their craft. They're in the gym, they're trying to better themselves. And you don't just have to look at it like some sort of action that has to be a sport or an art. It's whatever you're passionate about. If you're working towards becoming better at it consistently, that's when those moments of inspiration will come to you. So that's it. I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys have a blessed one.